Caribbean American News Media, your Tuesday night power hour. Live every Tuesday at 8:15 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and GVV TV channel 115. Join your host, Garfield Oliver, as he dives deep into the latest inclusion developments, regional affairs, and global issues that matter to you. From politics to the economy, community stories to international headlines, we cover it all with real talk and real insights. Stay informed, get the facts, be part of the conversation. Don't miss out. Set your reminders, share with your friends, and tune in. Caribbean American News Media, the news you report.
And entertaining segments showcasing the rich tapestry of Caribbean American culture. Join us as we explore a wide range of topics, from current events and community spotlights to arts, music, cuisine, and more. Our show features exclusive interviews with influencers, artists, community leaders, and everyday heroes who are making a difference in the Caribbean American community. Stay informed and inspired with our thought-provoking segments that highlight the diversity, resilience, and creativity within our community. Tune into the Caribbean American News Media Show for a captivating blend of news, entertainment, and storytelling that celebrates the Caribbean American experience. Get ready to discover new perspectives, celebrate successes, and connect with the heartbeat of the Caribbean American community. Don't miss a moment of the action. Stay tuned to Caribbean American News Media Show for an immersive viewing experience like no other. Hashtag Caribbean American News, hashtag show, hashtag cultural celebration.
You are viewing Caribbean American News Media on YouTube and on Facebook. You can also find us on 360 Radio. Your host for tonight is Garfield Oliver. Let's get to work.
Well, a special good night to all our viewers here on Caribbean American News platform. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Yes, this is Caribbean American News Media, and we are live on the air. We invite you to share the live and tag a friend. We are firing on all cylinders tonight. So please share the live and tag a friend. It is good to be here with you, my friends. Thank you so much for your kind support. Yes, my friends. For those of you who thought that we were down and out, no, we are right here. So greetings to all. We have Marvin Shallery over there in Montreal, Canada. Greetings to you, folks. We have a lot to discuss. Our viewers over there on our YouTube channel, greetings, greetings, greetings. We will let you know when we will be up on our GVD channel 115. We will let you know, folks. Everything we got to reorganize, resettle, and broadcasting is not a free game, all right? So, again, I want to greet everyone. Thank you so much for choosing us for your evening night, not entertainment, of course, your Tuesday night discussion. Yes, your Tuesday night is affair. We have increased our audience to a number of far-reaching countries, and we want to thank those of you who are coming on board. Herman, greetings to you. Greetings, greetings. Maria, faithful people are there. Victoria Henry, and also Martin Roseman. Greetings, 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 my people. A happy new year to all of you, our viewers, our listeners. Share the live and tag a friend. Now, before we go on, I want to ensure that our phone lines are up and running. I know we just it was disconnected from the main system, so we're going to ensure at this time that it is up and running and that we will not have any hiccups. We want to hear our audience. We want everyone to be a part of the experience here on Caribbean American News, the news that you report. Yes, my friends, the news you report. Okay, so let us just wait for that upload, and then we shall take off with the pack program that we have planned for you. So Mary Sharpline is in Happy New Year. God bless you, my friend. God, He is in control. He is in control. God is good. He is great. He is worthy of all our praise and our glory. And remember, like I always say to you, that God has not given the unrighteous, those who are not walking with Him, judgment over the righteous. And that is a fact. Fact, my friends, a biblical fact that we cannot get away from. All right? So just bear with us for a minute as we get our system up and running. In the meantime, we shall take a break and we shall be back in a jiffy.
Caribbean American News Media, your Tuesday night power hour. Live every Tuesday at 8:15 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and GVV TV channel 115. Join your host, Garfield Oliver, as he dives deep into the latest inclusion developments, regional affairs, and global issues that matter to you. From politics to the economy, community stories to international headlines. We cover it all with real talk and real insights. Stay informed, get the facts, be part of the conversation. Don't miss out. Set your reminders, share with your friends, and tune in. Caribbean American News Media, the news you report.
Yes, my friends, it is the news that you indeed report. Okay, so we're just waiting for one more confirmation here on the platform, and we shall be getting, yes, confirmation is coming in. Let's confirm the right system is firing up. Give us 2 minutes, folks. We're not in no hurry. Yes. So we are up. Let me just confirm that we are up and we are running. All right. Let me just make sure. Just give me a minute. Minute. Yes. We're confirming that our main phone lines are up and it is firing. Okay, the phone lines are coming. Someone said that there is no song. You will need to reset your system. Someone is reporting that there is no sound. Charles, greetings to you. Alexander, you're saying there is no song? Yeah, confirm. Thank you. Confirm. Okay. Bear with me. Bear with me, folks. And we are off to a beautiful start. The news you report. All right, so all is well. All is well. We are up. All is well. Thank you so much, folks. Greetings, Jean France. She's on. Charles is on. Bernadette is on. Alexander, Mary. Yes, our folks on Shadow Live. Those of you over there on YouTube, again, we want to greet Priest over on the YouTube channel, and we appreciate that. So let's move on with the news now. Let me see if I can do my rant this time. So we just got out of an election season. For me, it don't feel that way, but it is the truth, whether you feel that way or not. We just came out, St. Lucia just came out of an election season, of course, and the Labour Party was victorious at that's in St. Lucia. We're talking about, for those of you who are viewing from other parts of the world. The Labour Party won in St. Vincent. We saw the NDP unseating the Unity Labour Party. The Labour Party, Ralph Gonsalves, is the leader of that party, the political leader. Now he is the opposition leader in St. Lucia. Alan Chastney, the Honourable Alan Chastney, is the political leader of the United Workers' Party, and also he is the opposition leader in that country. So the elections are over, and so people now facing these major crises that we spoke about. Most of you would have listened to this platform, and you would come to the conclusion that our platform has never been a vulgar platform or disrespectful platform. The platform has always been entertaining, and we've always, to the best of our knowledge, present to you information that we would have received from our folks. We did our best, our utmost best, to maintain professionalism and to keep it real over here on our news platform. And we saw what happened with some of the St. Lucian people who believe that this platform should be shut down. It's a threat, and the platform don't like St. Lucia and don't love the country enough. And you heard all the stories, which did not bother us here. We did what we had to do. We were on the ground in St. Lucia. We did engage St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we are not making any excuse or we're not apologizing to anyone for the work that we did on this platform. We continue to do it, and people will continue to try to bully or to act sometimes uncivilized, but we will maintain our civility. We will maintain our professionalism. We'll maintain who we are as Caribbean American News, and we're not bothered with noise. It's just a host of noise, empty noise. And I want to remind you of something that the wise man said. That's Solomon. He speaks of the fool, and he said that the fool is known by his many words. You know, a lot of noise, a lot of talking. And anytime you come across individuals who act like they know it all, and you know, they always have the answer, they speak more than they listen. In other words, when you come across individuals who speak more than they listen, that individual they don't get a clear idea as to what you're discussing, your conversations, and so they will take it and they will spin it simply because they talk too much. They don't listen. And some just like to hear themselves, of course, and make themselves feel relevant, and they engage in serious discussions like it is a pappy show, like, you know, it's a game. But this is real, and I will show you tonight how real this platform is, how real our discussions are, how serious they are, and we must remain steadfast and focused, my friends. So the wise man is our biblical character for tonight. And he speaks of the wisdom of the wise, who is able to tame the tongue, who is able to listen more instead of speaking and keeping a whole lot of noise, covering up a whole lot of defects and past transgressions that have not been made right. And so my encouragement again, those of you who talk a lot and listen less, in 2026, you need to start listening more so that you can understand, comprehend what people is saying. Do what is called active listening, active communications, that's what I would recommend. And so I'll run along in my short rant. So I was saying to you folks that on this platform, and by the way, I'm going to say to you that in St. Lucia, the United Workers' Party is not a dead party. It is a party that is alive and well, and defeat at the poll don't mean that it does not say to you that the party is dead or the party is finished and all this kind of garbage. If that's your thought, then I think you need to follow the wise man too and speak less and listen more. Pay attention to what is happening in your region, in your country, what is influencing politics in the region. You got to understand it before you start saying things. When you have an entire, when you have major financial influence in political affairs, then I'm telling you, it will crush you. And so I am not here to encourage anyone in speaking ill about their political party, and I know that there is going to be the time when we will have to have serious conversation as to the path forward for the United Workers' Party, and that's where I leave you. But the party is strong, the party is together, and the party has shaken off some individuals, of course, and it should be able to bring individuals in, especially younger individuals who need to take the task of leadership in their country, and so we encourage young people to get on board and to come out and be part of the democracy of your country. Over there in Barbados, we know that they're gearing up for elections this year. That's what most individuals are thinking. Someone reached out to me from Barbados, and so there's engagement there. So you're going to see some shifts in our discussion and everything else, focusing a lot on Barbados and some of the other countries, Dominica and Antigua, that would be due for elections. All right, so as I was saying, most of you would have been aware of our discussions over the past few years on Caribbean American News. One of the major discussions that we've had is the CIP, Citizens by Investment Program. And you would hear people calling it, to people referring it as the sale of passports. And some governments will say, no, we're not selling passports, we're selling citizenship. So don't get confused. You're selling passports. You're selling citizenship to individuals who sometimes don't know your country, have never been there, have no interest in your country. So we have had major discussions, and we heard Mr. Martinez and all those guys coming out and warning you and saying to you, look, we're going to have some issues down the road, and those warnings were sound early. And I want to say something to the Honorable Alan Chastney, the political leader of the United Workers' Party there in St. Lucia and the opposition in St. Lucia. Whether you believe it or not, Mr. Alan Chastney has been a very active and powerful opposition leader in that country. I don't care what you believe, what you think. This is my opinion, and I'm sticking to my opinion. This man has been a very active and involved opposition leader. He was not asleep on any of the topics. He was not asleep on any of the issues that we were warning you guys about. Now, tonight I'm going to be saying a lot of "I told you so." We told you so. Mr. Shastney told you so. Outsiders told you so. You're going to hear a lot in our discussion tonight of "I told you so." And rightfully, I think it's in place for tonight, the "I told you so" segment. So let's do something before we get into the bunyo of our discussion. I want to convey my condolences to the Edwards family. Zenith Edwards, her family. She is from Denry South, a teacher, an educator, professional. I had the privilege of meeting her again. We grew up together in Denry. I had the privilege of meeting her for the last time here in New York. I was very sick. And I offered prayer on her behalf when she explained to me her challenge, her medical situation. And so I say to the family, may God comfort you in your time of bereavement. Family of Zenith Edwards of Denry South, that is on the island of St. Lucia. We also want to take a moment to reflect on another soul that have fallen asleep that we are aware of, and it is not fresh news for many, especially in St. Lucia, and that is the passing of Lisa Joseph, a veteran and seasoned journalist on the island, very professional. I will also have a discussion in rebuke to certain characters in that country. But Lisa, let's get the clip in. Lisa lost her battle, lost her fight with sickness. Lisa, again, has been a professional journalist in the country, on the island of St. Lucia. May God's comforting angel abide with the family as they grieve the loss of their loved one. So on behalf of Caribbean American News media platform, our viewers, the team here, deepest condolences also to the DBS family. We look forward to a time of no more death and no more pain and never crying again. So we have Lisa and also Zenith Edwards. All right, so that's it for those reminders, death announcement and condolences. Greetings. We are now going to head straight into work. So you'd have heard the opposition leader, Alan Chastney, in St. Lucia, together with the United Workers' Party, myself and many others, Miss Ward and many others, warning St. Lucia, sounding the alarm. And we were sounding the alarm like we were desperate, like we understood what was before us. We knew what was coming down the pipeline. Why? Because we knew who the President of the United States was, or is. Donald Trump. He's not a regular president. He's one who will do what he wants and he will act. If he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. That's what we were dealing with. We sounded the alarm on this platform. We were called enemy of the state, enemy of the country. It was said that I should be blocked from coming into St. Lucia because I am a danger to the country. We were told that we are the worst scum of the earth. Why? Because we spoke on a coming crisis that we saw from afar off. And many of you, if you are genuine enough, you would remember me saying that there is a storm coming. So instead of, like in the days of Noah, take it ye that it's going to rain and we need to make provisions for the rain, they turned their darts at the messenger or the messengers who were warning, who were sounding the alarm, saying to the Caribbean, to the region, even the St. Lucian, that something is wrong with the CIP program, and the major countries of the world are paying attention. The St. Lucia House of Representatives, both lower and upper, use every moment of their time to disrespect, to dodge, deflect from these major concerns that were presented to them. They went on a very expensive campaign to disrespect those who were sounding the alarm. And I'll tell you something, when you block your ear from hearing an alarm, it does not mean that there is no emergency. I'm going to say that again. Whether you block your ear from hearing an alarm, whether it's a fire alarm or any emergency alarm or alert, it does not remove the emergency. You will still have to deal with the emergency, whether it becomes major, it gets to a crisis proportion. CIP, my friends, have gotten the region in a place where all regional or most governments in the hemisphere, or in the region rather, are running to sign secret deals with the United States to avert the crisis that we warn you Caribbean leaders about, including the leaders in St. Lucia. They still got to deal with the crisis that we warned them about. Remember, they said to us, there's nothing going on, it's just a few of these conservative people keeping noise because they're not in government and they want power, so they will do anything to burn down the house, to kill a rat. You remember those stories, friends? And there's a reason why the United Workers' Party in St. Lucia did not win, you know. This is not their crisis to manage. And that's the truth. Their assignment was to warn and not to win. To warn of the crisis. And I believe they did exactly that. And all of us should feel comfortable that we did not sleep on the information. That we cried out from the mountaintop. And every opportunity we got, we spoke about the CIP disaster and what it would mean for the region. We spoke about the restriction of travel. Every time we speak about it, you know what they said to us? You guys are rejoicing. You want to see St. Lucia go down, or St. Vincent, or Dominica, or Grenada. You guys don't like us. Look at that. You all wishing bad on the country. And no, nobody was wishing bad. Bad was already hovering around the region. It was there. It was not a rejoicing session. It was a warning session. Because we have families, relatives, and friends who are in the area who will need United States services. Whether it's for school or medical or whatever it is. So it could not have been a rejoicing session. It was a warning session. Where we are today, folks. Where are we today? Where are we today? We are in a position, we are at a place now, folks, and we're going to get some graphics up. This is where we are today. The President of the United States saying to the Caribbean, to the hemisphere, that you guys are operating in our backyard. And we are not going to stand by and allow you guys to play with marbles how you want and play with fire in our backyard. We are not going to stand it. We're going to come in and we're going to protect and we're going to clean up our backyard from your carelessness, from your careless leadership. This is my hemisphere, my backyard. That's what the United States of America is saying now. I remember what you guys were saying. America have their own problems. They have crime in America. They have all kind of stuff in America. America need to mind their business. This is our country, and white and black and all the stories. Prime Minister, the President of the United States said to the Caribbean in clear tones that this is my hemisphere, this is my backyard, and we cannot have anyone operating in our backyard that will be a threat to our United States of America. And guess what? All them fellas, now, some of them are not even responsible. Some of them were in opposition. Like Dr. Friday, who is now the Prime Minister, he was in opposition. And I have a warning for Dr. Friday of St. Vincent. Bicessa in Trinidad just got in. Now, all these, most of them fellas are now speaking privately to the United States of America. And are signing on to deals like crazy. And I will show you some of what your leaders in the region are doing, and they're still not being clear on the way forward. They are just playing around with their citizens. They're putting pieces of story out. We accepting refugees. It's not deportees, it is refugees. And I'm going to show you why they're playing with words. Deportee, refugees. I will show you tonight why you got to watch them fellas, because they're desperate. Some of them are in re-election mood. Some of them know the mess that they're sitting on. Huh? The opposition is convincingly saying to us, we didn't realize how bad the treasury was, billions of dollars in debt. Now we got to stop one project in order to finish another one. Same Prime Minister Ralph was saying to the people, everything is good. Yeah, we're the best managers of the country. But the opposition is saying, the present Prime Minister Dr. Friday is saying, we didn't realize how bad this thing was. We are in serious debt. Huh? The region have been borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. And I'll tell you, there are billions of dollars in wastage and fraudulent activities in our region. And all we have is a whole set of loans in our region. And these guys are saying to us that they're the best to manage the region. So, let's go to the situation over there in Venezuela. So, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, for months now have been escalating, building up manpower in our Caribbean waters. Now, I remember I wrote a sermon a few months ago before this crisis. I did a PowerPoint sermon and I showed the escalation, the type of hardware, equipment that was sent over to the region, some of the most deadly that you will find in the United States military. And I remember saying to them that the United States is not sending those things for show. Something is about to happen. They're going to go in. They are going to go into Venezuela and they're going to try to get the president of that place. And I was very clear. I wouldn't say that I am no major prophet. But all the signs were there for those who don't talk too much and they listen more and observe. Then you would realize that there was a major buildup. And Caribbean leaders should have realized that this buildup would expose a whole lot of stuff in our Caribbean. They should have prepared themselves. They were having discussions over there, and nobody was clear on anything. All you were hearing is, well, Venezuela have their right to sovereignty, they are a democracy, and they're this and they're that, and they have a right to exist, and nobody should go in. And all they were saying is nobody should go in. But they're not saying to the United States, don't go in. We are discouraging it. We are asking you to stand down. They were not doing that if you observe them. All they were doing was circling the wagon, and nobody knew what they were referring to or who they were referring to. Is that true? It is true. You know why? Because these leaders wanted to be friends with Venezuela and they wanted to be friends with the United States. That is very dangerous. They wanted to be friends with Venezuela and they wanted to be friends with the United States. So they were, while tensions are high, instead of speaking the truth in order to de-escalate, they were just saying things, a whole lot of stuff. And people we had to guess what they were referring to. Because the problem was not with England. The problem with Venezuela was not with St. Lucia. It was not with St. Vincent. It was not with Canada. The problem was with the United States. And none of them wanted to say to the United States, stop it. Is that true? Of course it's true. And I dare someone to say otherwise or to tell me that I am wrong. I am open to correction, of course. But they were circling the wagon with a whole lot of noise, and no one was hitting the target. But there was a major crisis brewing between the United States and Venezuela. And not only that, there was another crisis between Guyana and Venezuela. Venezuela wanted the lands over there in the Essequibo or whatever it is. They wanted that land. They said, that's our land. And so there was a war. They brought Maduro over to St. Vincent, all the OECS, expensive, drink up all kind of expensive stuff, expensive food, laugh and hit each other on the back and say, yeah, you guys be nice to each other. Y'all don't shoot on each other. Don't do nothing. Don't get aggressive. No. Y'all just deal with that in the courts. And they laugh, pat each other on the back, and left, saying to themselves that we fixed the problem. The problem is fixed. No, the problem was never fixed. Never. Here's what they did also. Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago started receiving threats. And so tension is rising now between Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago. Now tell me, where is the peace that we were preaching in the region, both Venezuela and the other CARICOM nations? What type of peace we were preaching? When there were threats being made right in our backyards, and all we were doing is trying to be friends with everybody. No one has the backbone to say to this one, stop it. We are not supporting you on that. Stop, it is wrong. Stop. Everyone is patting each other on the back. Comrade, comrade. And that's what happens when countries are so dependent on the outside for their survival. You can't speak how you want, and you got to sing and dance to a certain music because you are you are a independent nation, but yet somebody got you in the throat from the outside, saying to you, sing from our hymnal. Or sing for your existence. And here is the script. And ensure that you dance while you're singing to our music. Nobody's speaking the truth to each other. And these are the leaders. I miss Eugenia Charles and John Compton and all them fellas back in the days. Even James Mitchell, all those guys who were able to manage crisis and to come together and have serious discussions, not all the foolishness that we hear about you win and you lose and this one is white and black and all this nastiness. That's not what we were getting. They had their issues back in the days. But these were leaders who were able to intervene in developing crisis. And they did their best. They might have lost some of the battles, but they fought well. And they were not patting comrade on the back for favor, but they were speaking the truth as God requires. And the truth would have set the Caribbean free. But they were comforting each other while there were major crises, one after the other. The threat in Guyana with Nicaragua, with Venezuela. Trinidad, the threat over there. CIP threat from the United States, from the European nations, Canada, and all these nations, major threats hanging over the region. And what we got was, I beat you. We don't need you guys. You are enemy of the state. And then on that, we had a whole lot of lawsuits being pelt or flinged at each other, politicians against politicians in the courts. While real cases are stuck in the courts for years, and men and women who need to see a judge are languishing in our jails. Poor people languishing in our jails without seeing a judge year after year. But our politicians were able to be playing games with each other, swinging lawsuits, and getting into court today for tomorrow, getting case settled before elections, and all kind of stories in our court system in the region. And poor families are stuck in the mud. Rape victims and murder victims, innocent families, are waiting up to today for justice. From 2005 and even further. And everybody clap in their colors while real issues are before us. And so the United States went in after many warning to Venezuela, and they took their president and his wife out of the country. And while they were doing that, they were shooting their way to him. Over 20-something soldiers got killed, Venezuelans and Cubans, I believe over 30. Yeah? And I'm saying to you, my people, we are still here. We are still here. The crisis is still here. And it seems as though all hell has broken loose in our region. So he's gone. And here's what. You know what? I'm going to take you, right? Let's go back. I'll take you back, a little back, right? Look. Let me show you something that I came across. Something I came across. And I want you to listen.
To Venezuela served as the first bilateral meeting between the Bolivarian Republic and St. Lucia since the Felipe administration re-established ties in 2021. According to the Prime Minister, the meeting served to solidify and enhance relations, which were strained under the former Alan Shastney administration.
There was an ambassador designate to Venezuela, and the former administration refused to accept her credentials, which caused a lot of shame in the international world. An ambassador in St. Lucia, and the government refuses to accept her credentials. That is unheard of.
So let me just cut this for a minute, right? Let me cut this for a minute. So this is the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, of course, for those of you who are viewing from Venezuela and the other parts of the world, those of you who have just joined our platform. So this is the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, of course, Philip Chepere, of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And he said that the opposition, when he got into power, he refused to accept an ambassador that was sent from Venezuela to be the representative of Venezuela into St. Lucia. So the Honorable Prime Minister at the time, Mr. Shastner, decided, look, we're not going to go there now. There is concerns. People are signing on saying that the elections was rigged and they do not recognize the president, Mr. Let me just get the name right, Mr. Maduro. We do not recognize him as the legitimate president, Nicolas Maduro's. We do not recognize him as the legit president of Venezuela because of the concerns that the rest of the world had for the election process. So you would believe that the right thing to do at the time would hold off on accepting ambassadors until that situation is rectified. But here is the Prime Minister of St. Lucia now saying to the world and to St. Lucians and the rest of the Caribbean that the action that Mr. Shastner, the then Prime Minister, took was wrong. I want you to observe this. And it caused a shame and an embarrassment in the region. Here is listen to what he's saying caused the shame and embarrassment. His Prime Minister at the time, Alan Shastner, making a policy decision, a bold, matter of fact, policy decision, that we are not going to accept your ambassadors yet because there is some concerns. Not only from us, but from our international partners, there are concerns about your presidency. Would that not be the right thing to do? People of the world, I want you to think about this carefully. Would it not be the right thing to do? With the information that you would have had as the head of state in your country. But he's saying that the decision that Mr. Shastner took and his administration, a policy decision, a foreign policy position, that it was an embarrassment and caused shame in the region. I want you to listen again to this.
Credentials. That is unheard of, and the Minister of External Affairs will tell you what mark that did in the country. So we reestablished these relations, and the ambassador was accepted.
Talks between the Nicolas Maduro-led government and the St. Lucian delegation were productive, says Infrastructure Minister Stevenson King. A lot of ground was covered in the one day with discussions on various areas of cooperation, including in agriculture, housing, infrastructure, and energy.
We have made an appeal for consideration of bitumen. Bitumen is an element used in the production of asphalt. And they have gone even further, not only to commit themselves to the provision of bitumen for the production of asphalt, but also to provide, if necessary, granular material for that purpose, which would mean that if we're able to receive this benefit from the Venezuelans, then it means road construction will see some level of depreciation in terms of cost. The cost of road construction will be decreased.
A memorandum of understanding was also signed between the two governments following the discussions.
We also signed a clear roadmap to how we can actually deal with the air services agreement that will facilitate the Venezuelan carrier to operate in our jurisdiction. It will create an improved framework for both tourism and trade between Venezuela and St. Lucia. As a matter of fact, many years ago we had Rentavion, taking speculators from St. Lucia across to Margarita and back. So this is nothing new. I think we are going to start a new engagement for trade and cooperating on a fundamentally different level.
The tangible fruits of these talks can be expected to be seen very soon, with a shipment of fertilizer expected here by early November. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
Now, by the way, thank you. This is a clip from, I believe it is DBS clip. So, what you saw there, my people of St. Lucia and the world, is some Caribbean governments signing on to deals and agreements with Venezuela, while, folks, there were major crises in that country where their own people could not have survived or lived quality lives. Remember, they were rationing of foods and long lines to get bread and things to eat, and the salary crisis and all these kind of stories. Remember them? And there were many human rights activists who were complaining, while our governments, of course, are signing on to deals and are ignoring some of the major problems that existed in the nation. Yeah? So, here is, I hope I can get this clip loaded. I have another interesting one that I came across, and I'm getting a lot of them, but we got to take our time in presenting them. Now, I want you to listen to this old
the
clip.
Permanent Council of the Organization of American States, OAS, voting not to recognize the legitimacy of Nicolas Maduro's second term as president of Venezuela. But this week, the Caribbean nation was one of 3 members of the Lima Group, which held out on a joint statement recognizing Venezuela's opposition leader, Juan Guaido, as the legitimate president. Guyana and Mexico are the other 2 countries which did not endorse the opposition leader. Now, while it might seem like a strange move for St. Lucia, bearing in mind the OAS vote, a January 14th statement by St. Lucia's Minister for Foreign Affairs might help to shed some light on the situation. Sarah Flood-Bober told members of the St. Lucia press that St. Lucia does not support the principle of intervention. She said it has always been about non-intervention in the domestic affairs of any country. She also added that St. Lucia has always made it clear that the people of Venezuela should resolve this matter without interference or without intervention. Mexico has also upheld the principle of non-intervention. Guyanese officials have not spoken out on that country's decision to hold out from signing the Lima Declaration, and after voting with the majority of the OAS Permanent Council not to recognize Nicolas Maduro as president. St. Lucia was the first country in the 15-member Caribbean Community CARICOM bloc to join the Lima Group. Alison Kentish in Castries, St. Lucia, reporting for Telesur English.
Drinking warm water before bed improves eyesight.
Let's see if we can go back to that clip there. Just bear with me. Let's reload that same clip. Let's reload and bring it back to me.
18 members of the Permanent Council of the Organization of American States, OAS, voting not to recognize the legitimacy of Nicolas Maduro's second term as president of Venezuela. But this week, the Caribbean nation was one of 3 members of the Lima Group, which held out on a joint statement recognizing Venezuela's opposition leader, Juan Guaido, as the legitimate president. Guyana and Mexico are the other 2 countries which did not endorse the opposition leader. Now, while it might seem like a strange move for St. Lucia, bearing in mind the OAS vote, a January 14th statement by St. Lucia's Minister for Foreign Affairs might help to shed some light on the situation. Sarah Flood-Bober told members of the St. Lucia press that St. Lucia does not support the principle of intervention. She said it has always been about non-intervention in the domestic affairs of any country. She also added that St. Lucia has always made it clear that the people of Venezuela should resolve this matter without interference or without intervention. Mexico has also upheld the principle of non-intervention. Guyanese officials have not spoken out on that country's decision to hold out from signing the Lima Declaration, And after voting with the majority of the OAS Permanent Council not to recognize Nicolas Maduro as president, St. Lucia was the first country.
So what is happening here back in the time is that the islands, the Caribbean islands and some other major world powers signed on to an agreement that, look, we're not going to recognize his presidency because there are some issues that need to be corrected, of course, and which was the right decision. It was the right decision at the time because most of us who look and spend time, just following developments in the region when it comes to Venezuela or Guyana or Trinidad and Tobago or the United States. You spend time and you'll understand that if there are concerns, then steps should be made in order to correct them. So here is Prime Minister Peer saying to the opposition at the time, you guys should have accepted the ambassador that was sent over to represent Venezuela in St. Lucia. And the opposition, the government at the time said, no, we can't do it right now. But here we've been told that it is a shame and an embarrassment and has caused embarrassment. And nothing further from the truth. But let me take you over, friends. Let me take you over to, sorry, my earbud came out and I need to hear just like you. Let's get the earbud back in to the air. All right. So let's look at a statement from the the President of the United States, and this was a State Department document that I pulled out from an email that I get every week. I get correspondence, I get information from the State Department, the Justice Department. I sign on to a mailing list, and so I do get these updates very, very, very often, especially lately. So here is one, right? Here is one. So the United States President, through his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, that's the State Department, of course, of the United States, they're saying, look, the hemisphere is our space. And here's what Donald Trump is saying to the space. And I quote, "We are at war against drugs. Drug trafficking organizations, not at war against Venezuela." All right? So let's continue. We are not going to allow the Western Hemisphere to be a base of operations for adversaries, competitors, and rivals of the United States. Do you understand that? We are not going to allow it. I'm coming to you, folks. The number one thing we care about is the safety, security, well-being, and prosperity of the United States. In other words, Donald Trump has a America First policy. Our number one, the number one thing we care about is the safety, security, well-being, and prosperity of the United States. Remember, we warned you about the citizenship, the passport, individuals from or competitors of the United States, individuals that the United States has, nations that the United States deemed to be a problem to them, getting access to Caribbean passports. Remember, we had this discussion before. and what can happen to the hemisphere, to the region, if we are allowing our passports to be used by these same individuals. You know what was said? Well, we have a right to do what we want in the Caribbean. And what we will do, we'll do business with Africa instead. Do you remember that? Tinubu. That's where we're from. We're from Africa, so let's do more business with Africa because we might not need, to accept what we consider to be bullying from the superpower. You remember that? And you remember what is happening now? Do you remember? Do you realize what is happening now with the African region and the United States? That many nations in Africa are on a ban list, a concern list, a security concern list for the United States. The Caribbean region, it's already in the bullseye of the United States. It's already there. How do I know that? I want you to listen to this. I'm going to read this for you from the Prime Minister of Antigua, Gaston Brong. Antigua has signed an agreement with the United States to accept deportees from third countries. PM Brong says no criminal deportees will be accepted. And here is why we are here today. We're here today, friends, not because Antigua has the best beaches or hotels or St. Lucia or Dominica or Grenada. We're here today simply because of CIP. Citizenship by Investment Program. The same program that we have been sounding the alarm about. Is that true? Now, I realize that we had one or two individuals on the platform who were trying to continue with their political garbage from St. Lucia. We need that to stop. This is no time for this game. This is no time on our platform for this garbage. We do not have time for it. These are serious matters. And with serious matters, we need serious people to engage. I want to read your comments. But when I'm reading your comments, I don't want to hear about someone's mother, this one ugly, and all this nastiness. That's not righteousness. And two, it's not going to help in the problems that are before us. It's not. So let's enhance our IQ and let us just broaden our knowledge base and stop with this petty under the canal or by the river thing. Let's just elevate ourselves in our discussion. Your elections is done over there. You should not be in that mood anymore. So allow those who want to engage in this discussion to engage without the distraction and the back and forth. I really don't want that under the platform. I prefer to just close the show than to encourage that or block you or remove you from doing that. All right? So this is not the time or this place for it. And that's why we're here today, because of the same behavior. While we were sounding the alarm, you were busy under the live doing all this unnecessary, childish stuff. This is a conversation for big people. This is a conversation for level-headed people. This is a conversation for individuals who are focused and not easily distracted by these nonsense. All right? So let us call a timeout. Just please stop. You can listen. You're welcome to be here, but be respectful to this platform. All right? Be respectful. Okay? So we're here today, I was saying to you folks, because of CIP. Can you agree with that? Good. So Mr. Brown, one of our leaders in the Caribbean, in Mr. Trump's hemisphere, Western that the United States had placed St. Kitts, or Antigua, rather, on a potential restricted list, a visa restricted list, where that country was facing the possibility of heightened scrutiny or not having access to the United States or the embassy services. So they were placed on a list. Everybody started running around. You heard statements from the folks in Antigua, well, we're going to have conversations, diplomatic conversations. And remember, I came on the end, I told you that them fellas are going to go privately, please, Mr. Trump, and they're going to sign on to anything that's placed before them. Any news that we can bring back to our people that you guys are okay now. And what we saw was Antigua government came back to the citizens and said, yeah, we okay now. Yeah, we got this. Everything is fine. You know, we worked something out. It's good. Moments later, friends. Well, I say moments, but I believe it was weeks later. We are finding out that Antigua got into some memorandum of understanding or some arrangement that they would accept from the United States what they consider to be refugees. Those were the terms, well worded, to confuse, I believe, the citizens of that country. So, I don't think the word deportees were used, but they used the term refugees. So, America requested of Antigua, I believe, based on what we are reading, the trend, that yes, we're going to lift this thing, but hey, you guys got to accept people that we don't want in our country. Now, these are not, let's use the word or the term refugees. America don't send their citizens anywhere as refugees. America accepts refugees from other countries. Is that true? So my question is, who are these refugees that Antigua is agreeing to accept in their country? Who are these refugees? And where are they from? These are people who are in the United States that the United States is trying to get rid of. So, Mr. Prime Minister of Antigua and your folks over there, tell your people the truth. Tell the region the truth. Come clear. So, America receives refugees from countries abroad, accept them legally into their country, but now have a change of mind. We don't want them here anymore. We're going to deport them. They got to leave. Now, America said, well, we are concerned about their safety, of course, so their countries are not going to accept them, or we're not going to send them over there, of course, for their own protection. We'll have to send them somewhere else, but they can't stay here in America. Now, America is the safest place on earth, right? Biggest military just went into Venezuela and grabbed the president and took him and his wife into the United States. We have the best security instruments and hardwares and planes and jets and submarines and the latest technology and military power. But here is America saying, we do not want the refugees in our country. And we want you guys to accept them even though they are not from your country. We are sending them over to you. And imagine a government who represents the people saying, yes, we will. with any consultation, of course, but saying that, yes, of course, why not? Where do we sign? Of course, we agree. And so we will use the word refugees. Now, I can understand if the refugees are directly from Africa or directly from some country where, people are being hurt and they need a safe country. I can understand that. But when you're saying to me that America accepts these individuals and now saying, we don't want you in our country, go somewhere else, we'll send you anywhere, but not here. And nations in the Caribbean are saying, sign me on, then I have a problem with that type of leadership in the Western Hemisphere. I believe I'm onto something. So, here is where things got a little rocky. Then, Dominica, Prime Minister of Dominica, agreed to the very same thing. Now, hold your horses here. So, earlier, we found out that Dominica and Antigua was placed on that list of restricted visas. And both countries started an engagement with the United States. Both of them are announcing that they will be accepting or receiving refugees from the United States. And you're telling me, people of our region, that that's not a problem? That our leaders have presided over a CIP disaster. And yes, CIP have been very good to some countries and their development and housing and everything else. Yes, let's not just write CIP off, of course. But there were a whole lot of concerns about the CIP. You were alerted to these concerns. And not only the underselling, the lack of transparency, the funniness, the individuals and countries that were involved as agent in the sales, the companies and the associations who were involved in the sales of the passport popped a red flag for the United States, and we did warn. Now, Mr. What's his name? Roosevelt or Scary over there in Dominica is saying to Dominicans that we're going to accept. Now, I will tell you, Dominicans are catching their heads to survive. Just like other countries, the cost of living high. There is an electoral crisis, as far as I'm concerned, in that country. They try to do some patches to the electoral department or system, but I'm not sure if that's enough for the democracy of that country. Dominicans are having a hard time just getting the basic necessities. But the elites, of course, are winging it out because they got state resources. And now they're bringing in what they call refugees. Could be 10, could be 100, could be 15, could be 1, could be 2. But we said yes. And so Dominicans and Antiguans, there might be a plane coming to you in a moment's notice You, the people of the Western Hemisphere, the backyard of Mr. Trump, will have to deal. Your social programs, social safety nets might just experience a little burden. As a matter of fact, I'm sure that there are Dominicans and Antiguans who are waiting to get on to some social programs, whether it's an elderly who need to get a monthly stipend or some medical intervention, some relief for their homes. And here is refugees coming in. And while most of our safety nets are burdened and are at breaking points, we are accepting refugees in our countries of the region from the United States of America. And that is strong leadership in our region. The best leadership in the region. Huh? And so Grenada said, here comes Grenada now. Grenada said, well, we hear it. Yeah, that proposal was made to us, but we have another proposal, a counter proposal to that. So Grenada is saying, look, we hold your horses. We hear you that you want us to accept your refugees, as you call them, deportees. You are deporting the people. So they are not refugees, they are deportees. You are deporting them because you do not want them in your country. That's what it is. Stop playing with words. They came to America as refugees. America is deporting them. So they are deportees. They are not refugees. They are not seeking anything in the Caribbean. America is deporting them out of their country. They came in, I'm going to explain it again. They came in as refugees from some other country, maybe a war zone or somewhere, or Haiti or somewhere. And now America is deporting them and are encouraging Caribbean leaders to accept them or else. Why? Because this is our backyard. The Western Hemisphere is our backyard. And we will decide at some point what goes on in our backyard. And where there's a threat in our backyard, we are coming in to clean it up. That's all it is. I just break down this whole Caribbean drama for you in just a few words. You are receiving deportees from the United States who are not Dominicans, not Antiguans, not Grenadians in your country. There we go. We can close the show. That's it. And instead of these leaders explain carefully to the people of their country, they are playing games because they're afraid that they will lose their campaign. And I'll tell you something, I not because I'm biased towards Alan Chastanet, I kind of respect him. You know why? He would have sacrificed 3 elections for the truth. He would have just do what he had to do. Just like rejecting at the time the ambassador that was sent, he would have taken the tough decision. But them fellas, no way. No way. It's not going to happen, Jose. So Grenada is saying, well, there's something going on here too with us, and we will figure it out with you guys, but we're not going to talk about it yet, but we working something out with that request that you were making. But Grenada and Dominica and Antigua, they have already said yes, it's coming. Huh? Let me show you something. I'm not going to show you this that right now. No, that's what is too heavy. It's too heavy for you, my people. So, Dominica is in, and let's go over to something. I don't know if we will be able to get it played good, but let's go over to it.
Party refugees. Grenada, meantime, said it has also received an American proposal to also accept these so-called refugees, but has made no decision. In fact, St. George's said it has made a counter-proposal to Washington. On Monday, the government was not willing to give the details of that counter-proposal, some citing national security concerns. The two Eastern Caribbean countries will accept people the United States wants to deport in situations where those deportees cannot be returned to their birth of origin. Skerritt made his country's announcement at a press conference in Roseau on Monday.
In our discussions with the State Department, there have been careful deliberations of the need to avoid receiving violent individuals or individuals who will compromise the security of Dominica. This has been acknowledged and well received by the State Department.
So let's just dissect this carefully for a while. So Mr. Skerritt is saying that we were in discussions and talks, and we told them that we don't want anybody that will cause security challenge for us. But America is saying that they're a security challenge for us. Isn't that not the reason why they're deporting them? They're not refugees, I told you. They're deportees. And remember, last year, we heard news of America wanting to just put people on plane and send them anywhere. Do you remember that? Do you remember that, folks? The news report, we're on it. Remember, last year, America was just picking you up and sending you to any country. And remember, countries were turning planes around and saying, not here. Do you remember that? So I told you, folks, right on this platform, and I was ridiculed when I told you that our Caribbean leaders, the United States, understand the art of the deal. And they're going to squeeze, they're going to say to you, we're going to block your visa. And guess what? All Caribbean leaders will run, please, 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 no, don't block us, please. Don't, what you want. And Trump will say, good. You got to take those guys, we don't want them here. And then you will say, okay, sir, anything, we were long-term partners, and we're always partners, and we love each other, and oh, yes, fine, no problem. When you're going to send them now or next week? And then, story done. I told you. It sounds to me like that's exactly what took place. Tell us, what do you want? The deportees. The United States are deporting because they don't want them in the country, and they believe that they're some concerns to them. They are a burden to their system. Oh, our healthcare system. These people are bleeding our healthcare system. You remember the Republicans, right? Say that. Oh, they're a tremendous burden. These non-Americans who came here, and they are a heavy burden on our system and our social security or healthcare system, and we got to get them out of this country. And remember, the plan was, and this is what got him in power, Mr. Trump, is that he was going to clean up the safety nets. And he's going to remove people who are not contributing to these programs, these safety nets. He's going to remove them from that program. That is exactly what it is. So if they are a burden to the health system and a burden to the social safety nets, food stamps and everything else, housing in this country, and you are saying we want them, we can take them, when you have individuals, you have housing crisis in your country. As a matter of fact, housing deficit in your country. housing deficit in your country. And I'm saying, folks, and I didn't want to laugh there, but I'm just showing you that our leaders appear to be compromised and jammed between a rock and a hard place. And by the way, they created their rock and they ran into a very hard place. And now they got to sing. They got to sing, and not sing because they want to sing. They're singing from a script that is given to them because they did not pay attention to the coming storm. And I'm going to play this back again. I wanted to reload so that we can play it back again. Reload. Thank you. Reload and pull it up one time.
An agreement with the United States to accept third-party refugees. Grenada, meantime, said it has also received an American proposal to also accept these so-called refugees, but has made no decision. In fact, St. George's said it has made a counter-proposal to Washington. On Monday, the government was not willing to give the details of that counter-proposal, some citing national security concerns. The two Eastern Caribbean countries will accept people the United States wants to deport in situations where those deportees cannot be returned to their birth of origin. Skerritt made his country's announcement at a press conference in Roseau on Monday.
In our discussions with the State Department, there have been careful deliberations of the need to avoid receiving violent individuals or individuals who will compromise the security of Dominica. This has been acknowledged and well received by the State Department.
Skerritt said that negotiations with the U.S. State Department included what he called careful deliberations to ensure that Dominica does not receive violent individuals or persons who could compromise national security. The Prime Minister said it was important to maintain strong bilateral relations with the United States, noting that as head of government, he believes it is necessary to identify areas of agreement and compromise between both countries.
This engagement is based on our responsibility to safeguard the well-being of our people, particularly the access to lawful travel, education, employment, and family connections, while strengthening cooperation between our two governments. I believe this will further deepen our long-standing relationship and signal clearly that Dominica remains a willing and reliable partner of the United States in our region.
However, Skerritt did not disclose which countries the migrants would be coming from, saying he could not share those details at this time.
All of those questions that you've asked have been considered as part of the discussion and as part of the agreement, the MOU between Dominica and the United States on this. And I'll say so. I mean, all fairness to the United States, especially the folks at the U.S. Embassy and the State Department, they have been very respectful and reasonable and understanding of our concerns. And I think that they have taken some of our concerns into very serious consideration. And those concerns have been reflected in the final document agreed between ourselves. But as time goes by, we will know how we're going to operate this agreement, how we're going to operationalize it, and so we'll take it forward.
Meanwhile, Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Gaston Brown said the deal to accept the deportees was struck 3 months ago, saying he was reporting it now because it could no longer be held a secret. Grenada has been in talks with the U.S. on the issue, and the government has not made an official statement on the matter. Brown said his government has to accept possibly up to 10 non-criminal refugees who, according to him, may have skills that are in short demand locally. Both Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica have confirmed that they have reached an agreement with the United States to accept third-party refugees.
Folks, this is not funny at all. Did you hear this from your leaders? One is saying that the deal was struck 3 months ago and he can no longer keep it a secret, so he's bringing it out now. The other one is saying that, oh yeah, to be fair to America, they were nice to us, and be fair to them. They're nice to us. They're respectful to us, and I don't know, where they're coming from. What's their nationality? Yes, we know they're coming from the United States as deportees. What are their nationality, of course? Sounds to me like a secret deal. Well, it is a secret deal because Mr. Brown said that it can no longer be kept a secret. So what we have in our Caribbean, to me, it appears this contempt for the people, the disrespect to the citizens, that should have been debated in Parliament. These should have been open discussions for the general public to be part of. But these guys are signing on to certain deals, and then they're saying to you when it comes out, well, it's from 3 months ago, not now. We did that 3 months ago, not now. Which I honestly don't believe. And all of a sudden, he did his negotiations 3 months ago. Now scared, deal is there. And remember when them fellas got the notice that they were going to be restricted, that they ran, the ambassadors, they ran and they said, yeah, we ready to talk. What do you want? They came back to you and said, oh yeah, everything is fine now, we have an agreement. But all of a sudden, Antigua is saying that his deal was done 3 months ago. My question to the other Caribbean countries, because, and I told you, he that cannot keep his tongue is not wise. But let me show you something, huh? This prime minister of Antigua, he likes to attack people, of course. He can't take criticism. I discovered that he insults a lot of people. That's something that I observe. I don't know if what I'm seeing is right, if it's a fake account, but I've been seeing a lot of stuff coming out from him as a leader. So this leader said to the people that, yeah, there are other Caribbean countries who sign on to. He exposed the other countries. My question to St. Lucia and the other country? Well, St. Lucia. Did you sign on to anything recently? If Mr. Brown is right, 3 months ago. If Skerritt is right, just recently. Well, it sounds like just recently for Mr. Skerritt. He's not saying that, of course. St. Lucia have been mighty quiet. And you don't hear a lot in recent times. So my question for St. Lucia is, Mr. Prime Minister, is there anything that you would want to share with us that we should know about these CARICOM deals with the United States of America? And I'm saying, just for information, is there something that you would want to share with us? And maybe this is the right time to jump on the bandwagon and start talking like your two colleagues, Brown and Skerritt. And Grenada is saying, yeah, we got the same thing, but we have another plan. We wrote them about something else. We don't think that's something we want to do, but we're going to have a conversation. So if the United States is dealing with CIP countries in the region, in the Western Hemisphere, my question is again to St. Lucia. And I would think that you are in the Western Hemisphere. You're in the Caribbean region or basin. And you have a CIP program. My question to St. Lucia, and I want you to mark this date down. Is there something that you want to say to these people of your country? Dominica came out, Antigua came out, Grenada came out, but St. Lucia, Mr. Alva Batiste, and the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, is there something that you would want to share with the citizens of your country? Yes or no? We look forward not to the regular noise and coming after you and or the things that you do, but a serious answer. Is there a deal? Is there a deal? Like what we're hearing about deportees from other countries that are not St. Lucians that might be coming to St. Lucia. And Antigua said, oh, only 10. So the Americans just sending 10 over to us. Nothing to bother about. There might be people there that we might need anyway in our country. Skilled people. Just 10 skilled people America is deporting. 10 of their best refugees that they're going to send to Antigua. The best of the best. We await St. Lucia. So here is my final concern. My final concern for the Caribbean. And I quote, and this came out from a number of news networks. I don't think this came out for the State Department, of course. Some of the major networks in the United States. Here is what it says. Caribbean politicians implicated in Maduro's criminal charges. I'm going to repeat. Caribbean politicians implicated in Maduro's criminal charges. My question to the Western Hemisphere, to our politicians in the Western Hemisphere, how are you all doing? Are you guys okay? If this report is for real, how are you all doing? Is there anything you want to say to us also on the implication in Maduro's criminal charges? And we're hearing, folks, that some of these charges will be unsealed. They're sealed, but they will be unsealed very soon by the United States. And these charges will be exposed, and the politicians, you will know who they are very soon. Is this scary? Now, a lot of people are pointing fingers already, but remember, we are talking about sealed charges. So names are not out as yet, but the State Department would be aware of these individuals. Caribbean politicians implicated in Maduro's criminal charges. And I'm hearing that there are right now 3 politicians in our region whose name will be unsealed very shortly. These charges will be unsealed, and there are many more. If this is for real, then I'm asking our politicians in the region, how are you doing so far? I am not going to point fingers, but we're going to wait until the files are unsealed in the coming days. Then we will be back here for a conversation. This is real. This is real. I'm going to read some of your comments, and I want you to be careful in how you discuss these matters. They're very serious one, of course. What you want to do, and my advice to you, is to avoid propaganda, avoid just saying things, because these are serious matters. And I believe that we have been playing around with these serious matters for so long that we're at a place now where we are saying we will accept refugees or deportees from other countries other than our country, wherever that our country is, simply because we distract ourselves with propaganda and with all sorts of misinformation. Let's avoid it. If we don't know something as facts, let's try to avoid it. Wait, and murmur not. Just wait. Everything is moving quickly. But we were told that the president of Venezuela have pleaded not guilty to all the charges, and he indicated to the judge who presided over the matter, that he was not aware, after his memorandum rights was read to him, that he was not aware of his rights. He was not aware, because he got the option. You have the right to not speak, to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney, and he also have a right to bail. So it sounds like the president decided that, look, I'm not taking no bail. I'm staying right here in the luxury of your prison, and I look forward to my time in court, where you will bring forth your evidence against me and let justice roll. But we got to watch this space, and we also got to say to politicians, be careful, be straight in your business. And I don't believe that politicians should be left to serve 20, like Ralph Gonsalves, 20 years. I don't think that is right. Because what happened is that these politicians get accustomed, they get complacent, they start acting like kings and acting a certain way. So I'm asking you folks in the region, and I know Philip Japet just got into his second term, which is okay for you to have, your first and your second. But it is time for politicians to look within themselves and look at what is best for the citizens of your country. And that's a fact. That's true. All right? So I'm just going to read some of your comments, and then I'm going to allow you to go. I know some of you got to work, and, you got to do what you got to do. So we're going to read from the back from our Facebook channel, of course. It says here, George, well, may this twin, maybe his twin brother. Zula says, I love the stand that Africa is taking. She says Venezuelans are happy right now. They're celebrating. Jean France, they like to call you enemy of the state, I know. Mary, some of them can't even spell enemy of the state, so I'm not even worried about that. Mary, Charles, are we doing better than them? Joanne, whatever happens in the dark will come to light. Zola says the U.S. has no right to charge anyone who gives them the right. Trump is busy. Okay, killing for oil. Flora, hi, Brother Garfield. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Catherine, how are you? Okay. So let's see. I'm not sure if I can see over on our YouTube channel. Somebody asked, what about St. Lucia? Now, Guston is talking in the other side of his face with all his bravado. Cuban soldiers, 32 Cuban soldiers were murdered. All right. And it goes on and on. So, folks, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I'm not even going to take calls tonight, but we look forward to our program on Tuesday night, God's willing, and we might have a break in on either Sunday or Monday. We will have another show with some other developments that I want to bring to your attention. I'm following it. I'm not rushing to talk about anything or to jump onto any bandwagon. I'm taking my time, but there is something that we will follow in, and I would want to share it. I want to bring it to your attention, and we might do that on Sunday or on Monday, God's willing. But thank you so much for your support to Caribbean American News Media Platform. My advice to you is to tag a friend, share the live, and tag a friend so that you can get notification when we are coming on. Share the live, folks. Let the folks know that we are on, we are back, and we are firing on all cylinders. So, folks, have a beautiful rest of your night. So long. Bye-bye.
American News Media, your Tuesday night power hour. Live every Tuesday at 8:15 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and GVV TV channel 115. Join your host, Garfield Oliver, as he dives deep into the latest inclusion developments, regional affairs, and global issues that matter to you. From politics to the economy, community stories to international headlines. We cover it all with real talk and real insights. Stay informed, get the facts, be part of the conversation. Don't miss out. Set your reminders, share with your friends, and tune in. Caribbean American News Media, the news